WSU standout C.J. Ellaby heading to Portland to play for the Blazers. The Washington native was the 46th overall pick in the NBA draft.
As coronavirus cases surge across the state, the Spokane Public School Board is going over the data tonight, which shows transmission among the youngest students and the number of people quarantined.
Plus, an iconic downtown Spokane restaurant shutting down operations for the next month as new COVID restrictions are now in place.
This active weather pattern continues with still more rain and more snow showers possible in our forecast, but I am finally tracking a few dry days ahead.
We do have some breaking news at this hour. A suspect wanted for second-degree murder has been arrested.
36-year-old Gary Norman was arrested just after 9 tonight after an anonymous tip to police. He was wanted in connection to the stabbing death of a man in downtown Spokane back in early October. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 11. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Hello everyone, I'm Regina On.
Come in your puffy coats, get geared up. We're gonna have, the freshest beer around and great food in the kitchen and just try and keep it going outside.
As restaurants in Washington are no longer allowed to host any in-person dining inside, many are starting to get creative with an order to stay open as temperatures drop in the inland Northwest.
And Governor Inslee's new restrictions went into place at midnight, but some restaurants aren't letting that stop them from staying open.
We're going to make this doable. We're not going to let this get us down.
But what about those restaurants that are temporarily shutting down until the new coronavirus restrictions lift on December 14th?
KREM 2's Brandon Jones caught up with workers at the steam plant in downtown Spokane. He brings us more on how they're planning to handle the latest shutdown.
When it comes to the hospitality industry, every business, both small and large, has faced a historic challenge. It's been no different here at the steam plant as they close their doors once again to follow new protocols. Just as the restaurant was getting back into the swing of things, a month-long hiatus is now on the schedule.
So grand total, we were open 6 days before we heard that we were going to close down again.
Along with being an interactive dining experience, the steam plant is known for hosting events. The history and architecture of the building is perfect for its museum-like atmosphere, forming an ideal location for holiday parties. What takes place during Christmas this year isn't quite clear. The new order is supposed to be lifted December 14th, but they've already seen how this kind of situation can play out.
For example, we had weddings, we had anniversary parties that had events here, and we had to either move those to 2021 or completely relocate them. So everyone's being affected.
For a second time this year, employees are left wondering when they can get back to work. When meals aren't being served, it's not feasible to retain the entire staff. There isn't too much worry about the steam plant making it through this pandemic. The same, however, can't be said for local businesses across the region.
Spokane is unlike any other community. We have a ton of mom and pop shops around here, which is absolutely incredible. But those mom and pop shops need more support than ever.
From Spokane, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Meantime, Spokane Public Schools forging ahead with its plans to bring back second graders for in-person learning on November 30th. And tonight, district leaders held a meeting to address parents' concerns, as COVID cases surge here locally. And Regina, you sat in on that meeting tonight. What can you tell us about it?
That's right, Mark. So Dr. Adam Swinyard says that right now there is a very low transmission rate in schools. In fact, he says among the 3,500 students back in schools, they've only had 2 confirmed cases of transmission in their buildings. He did show this graph of current cases and quarantines. There are currently 70 people with COVID-19 and 259 student or staff exposure. Swinyard did emphasize this is low considering it's spread across thousands of students and 54 buildings. He said many parents have been curious about quarantine, and he says it's important to keep these protocols in place even though it might be a bit uncomfortable right now.
And we recognize that is disruptive. And that's a balance between the opportunity to have thousands of kids back in schools, knowing that there will be scenarios where we do have to impact individual classrooms or students to quarantine.
And second graders will begin their AB phasing plan on November 30th. All first graders will be in person this Friday, November 20th.
The Panhandle Health District's board will once again debate whether to implement a mask mandate tomorrow. On their meeting agenda, they have listed a mask mandate discussion with a possible action. If voted in favor, there would be a mask mandate for all of Kootenai County. Right now, masks are required in the city of Coeur d'Alene for the next 68 days. Now, previously, Panhandle Health District, which covers the 5 northern counties in Idaho, voted to rescind the Kootenai County mask mandate the same day that Kootenai Health, the region's largest hospital, announced that it was at 99% capacity. That meeting starts tomorrow at 12:30. And big news tonight for a local college athlete. The NBA draft was tonight, and a former WSU player heard his name called. Our Brenna Green joining us live in the newsroom tonight with where he's headed. Brenna?
Yep, CJ Ellaby has been drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. Ellaby went with the 46th pick to the team just 5.5 hours down the road. He becomes the 36th player out of WSU to be drafted into the NBA. Ellaby only played 2 seasons at WSU, but was a 1,000-point scorer with the Cougs. He was the 3rd fastest Coug to do it. He also is a Seattle area native. Ellaby defied the odds getting drafted tonight, as most draft experts didn't have him anywhere near the 46th pick. Unfortunately for Gonzaga fans, Killian Tilly did not hear his name called tonight. This was probably due to the long list of injuries he's compiled over his career. But the good news is that he's signing a 2-way deal with the Memphis Grizzlies, so he'll be reunited with former teammate Brandon Clark. Here are some players with Washington connections who were also drafted this evening. The Huskies' Isaiah Stewart is headed to the Detroit Pistons with the 16th pick. His teammate Jaden McDaniels, who's also from Seattle, was drafted by the Minnesota Timberwolves at 28. And right after him, former WSU guard Malachi Flynn was drafted by the Toronto Raptors. So if you're keeping track at home, that means 3 Seattle area natives were drafted tonight by NBA teams. Pretty good night for our state. Back to you.
All right, Brenna, thanks so much for that. Let's turn to weather now. We did see some rain around the inland northwest today, and also some yesterday as well. And now we're expecting some high winds. Thomas Patrick joining me now from the Outdoor Weather Center. So Thomas, what does it look like for the rest of this week?
Yeah, a bit breezy from our Outdoor Weather Center right now, and it's unfortunately not that very warm wind like what we had on Tuesday. No, a bit of a chill this time around with the winds overnight, but shouldn't be terribly strong even for tomorrow. The rain that we had earlier today, that has long since departed. There was a few leftover showers in far north Idaho, but not looking at anything for at least a couple hours here. 37 degrees at the moment, but those winds have been between about 15 and 25 miles per hour the last couple hours here. So it will stay a little bit breezy tonight. Chance for some rain or snow showers tomorrow morning as this somewhat active and unsettled weather pattern continues, but only for that point. Later on in the afternoon tomorrow, we do get a little bit of sunshine. Make sure to enjoy that, and actually a bit of a dry stretch of weather for a few days ahead. But our temperature is not really going much of anywhere. We stay in the 40s through this upcoming weekend. So coming up, detailing just how long we can keep the dry weather in place for before what looks to be yet another active pattern come next week and perhaps all the way into Thanksgiving.
All right, we'll talk to you later in the broadcast. Thomas, thank you. Still ahead here on KREM 2 News at 11.
It's really unclear to me why there was any conversation about potentially abandoning the precinct beforehand.
We revealed newly obtained emails from the office of Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin that show confusion and desperation as control of Capitol Hill slipped into the hands of protesters.
And then later, national media outlets have reported that Washington Governor Jay Inslee is being considered for a position in President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet. We'll explain who would fill in for Inslee.